You're listening to The Burning Truth. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and dude and dudettes. I am one half of the host of The Burning Truth, Matt Burns, and with me I have none other than JB, also known as John Below.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to The Burning Truth.
Yes, and let's just say, if you are listening to this on certain sources, you may have noticed a few little different changes.
For the better, let's just add.
Yes, you might, and some of you might be who are listening to this live might be just getting it straight into it. Some of you may be hearing a bit of a small jingle or advert of some sort. If it is, don't worry. It is only going to be there is going to be the odd advert, one at the beginning of the episodes and potentially one at the end.
This is all part of our brand new, brand spanking deal with our providers. Yeehaw. To ensure that, well,
No.
basically...
Let's just say this. It's not Yeehaw, the provider. It will be none other than Spreaker.
Spreaker, okay, yeah, I was saying yeehaw in a sort of outdated cowboy sense, not... Yeah, okay. With our provider Spreaker, which basically enables us to keep doing this and, hopefully, enables more of you to hear it.
Potentially. And on top of that, you might have, if you actually follow us on our social media, you may have actually also picked up on a few additional things, meaning we're actually able to get listened to even more now.
Yeah, I mean, there's always the option to listen live on Spreaker, which, if you are doing now, we're eternally grateful. Thank you very much. Tell all your friends.
Or through the website.
Or through the website.
Yeah.
But if you don't listen live, you can now listen anytime you like from an increased number of sources.
I'm just trying to think of some of these sources, So just some of the quick ones off the top of our heads. You can either go directly to the Spreaker website, you can either go to the the Burning Truth website, you can potentially either go to Spotify. And yes, in the past we have said we have got past episodes. Believe me, we've actually got them all on now.
Oh yeah, all the past episodes that you may have looked for on Spotify and gone, huh? Why did they stop in 2017? They don't anymore.
Well, actually, it was originally 2016 was when these sort of starts, but...
Yeah, but now, all back episodes from 2016, as well as the ones from before that were already there, right up brand spanking to the present day, are available for you to listen to at your leisure. How many episodes was that, Matt Burns? Was it over 200?
218 now, soon to be 219.
But let me guess, it felt like over 9,000 when you were doing it.
Let's just say a lot of time and effort went into it. But anyway, that's sorted for Spotify. Not only are we on Spotify, we are also on, I believe, Google Podcasts. We're also on Deezer.
Yes.
I know, you're getting a lot more. You're all probably wondering, hang on, you haven't mentioned one. You're about to
Spreaker,
say...
Google Podcasts, Spotify, Deezer, to name but a few. Which one have you not mentioned?
We haven't mentioned iTunes.
Okay.
This is the reason why we haven't mentioned iTunes is because at the moment it's currently being checked out by the the runners of iTunes, most likely by Apple. They're actually probably checking over the content that we're probably releasing out as well. And let's just say we have put on certain rules. We have stated what we are and done the exact same format as what we did for Spotify, but they've probably got a lot of content to go through too, so it could take a little bit of time.
What with the whole everyone's at home and so everyone's listening to way more podcasts, and everyone who's suddenly got time on their hands is making way more podcasts. They've got quite a lot of stuff to deal with, but I'm sure they'll get to it eventually, and then that will enable me to do my finest Corey Graves impression.
Yeah, but on top of that, take into account we have just sent over 5 years worth.
Yeah,
in one
exactly.
hit.
Exactly.
Oops.
That's going some. Oh, well, yeah. But then I will be able to do my finest Corey Graves impression when that goes through.
Yes, that you will be able to. But yeah, bit of it. You might notice that we are talking quite fast and not done our usual introductions and everything. But we'll just get to that straight away. Would you care to do the audio disclaimer as usual, please?
The following broadcast may contain storylines, opinions, and language not suitable for younger viewers, sensitive viewers, and some language which may also be not suitable for other viewers. This program may also contain strobe lighting effects.
Yes, and strobe lighting effect aside, what my colleague is probably stating there, in case if anyone wants it in simple tone, there may be certain sections of the broadcast that might be unsuitable, language that might be inappropriate for certain people's taste and younger listeners. So the reason why
every now and again, certain topics cause us to need to use adult language. Normally, we do give you a fairly sensible heads-up warning a couple of minutes before the bombs are about to be dropped, so that even if you are listening, we try our best to signpost it so that you can tune out if you have sensitive ears. Like Matt Burns said, sometimes the swearing is sudden and we don't get a chance to signpost it, like what I nearly did then when something happened on my phone and it wasn't on silent.
Don't worry.
Moment. Yeah, basically, sometimes
it may have
we
come
don't
through.
get a chance to signpost it, so, there's always the opportunity that you may hear something that you'd rather not. We don't want that to be the case, obviously, but, accidents happen.
Did you actually plan to do that, then? I'll be honest with you. If you planned, that was genius. If not, that was a bit of a stroke of luck. But anyway...
I'd love to claim that I had enough forethought to have planned that, but I got to be honest, I didn't.
Right, anyway, just to point out, there may be a few hiccups with the audio on some of these episodes. One is most likely because of us both doing it from different locations, because we're using it through the power of the internet.
The internet and modern technology, aren't they great?
Correct. And on top of that, at the same time, we are actually being, as you may currently already know, we are currently under certain rules of being able to, tell everyone's being told to stay at home or stay in.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. In the current climate, the fact that we are capable of doing it from our own homes is good. Because, as Matt Burns alluded to, we wouldn't be allowed to go around each other's house. And we'd probably have the microphone cranked up to its absolute maximum. If you bear in mind, we'd be 3 feet either side of it, so at least. So we have to be 6 feet apart. So it might damage the hardware a wee bit. But that's not a worry, because we're not in the same room. We're not even in the same county. That's how good this is.
Yeah. We're practicing social distancing even on this broadcast.
Hey.
Social distancing. Hashtag stay at home.
Hashtag stay safe. Stay at home.
Well, anyway, let's just get down to business. This week, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have noticed that originally we were going to be talking less about wrestling and potentially talk about on other subjects. However, due to the wrestling news and wrestling topics, we've been advised to keep going and pushing on. We could end up doing separate individual stuff as part of a separate podcast, potentially.
We might also incorporate little 5-minute segments here and there of game reviews and TV reviews and stuff in amongst the wrestling, just to break it up a bit. But the vast majority of what we talk about is still going to be
wrestling.
Matt Burns' favourite sport and my third favourite sport.
How dare you? I'm disappointed.
What do you mean?
I'm disappointed in you.
Why?
Third favourite.
Third favourite, yes.
No. Not happy. Not happy.
Anyway. Would it make you slightly happier if I told you my two favourite sports are Xbox and sleeping?
That's fine then.
Okay.
I'll mix up for it. But anyway.
I thought it might.
Let's just get down to business and let's talk about some of the topics that we are going to be discussing. this is going to be a bit of a different episode because normally we do some, chasing the up-to-date wrestling news and everything, but we feel as though instead of us doing the chasing headlines as much as we are going to do a few quick headlines.
Yeah, mention a little bit of what's happened this week, but that's not going to be the main topic of the show.
Correct. And that's probably going to be the how we're going to be doing it forward. Basically, we are going to be discussing this week in regards to WWE ratings and Vince McMahon's view on it, on why potentially certain ratings are low.
And advance warning, this may contain swearing because, well, not to put too fine a hat on it, we don't think Vince McMahon's reason is the most sound one.
One of the reasons may not be the most soundest. Then
Indeed.
We're going to be potentially looking into the what happened on SmackDown, which is the Triple H's 25th anniversary.
Basically celebrating 25 years of the Blue Blood, Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Yes. But yes, I know a lot of people saying, we don't talk about SmackDown because that's, only happened 2 days ago. Yes, we don't normally, but it was quite... There's a good reason why. You'll find out why. And then we're going to have a quick discussion about the situation with Drake Maverick and our thoughts on it.
Yeah, and that'll pretty much wrap up the news section, and then we will move on to the main part of today's show, which will be a discussion which, thanks to the wonders of more people hearing this on social media and so on and so forth and all that, we'd quite like it if you got involved with.
Yeah.
So, if you want to go on the Burning Truth social media, let me see, Instagram, in your case, Facebook, Twitter, and any others that I might have forgotten at the end of the show.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can send messages directly to us individually. There's the website. There's email.
Yeah. If you want to get in touch at the end, having heard what we've said and gone, oh, but you forgot, or how could you not mention...
Yeah.
As long as you do it in a polite and sensible way that we can repeat on air, please do.
Basically, what we are going to be discussing is memorable promos. Now, notice the words I used there.
Memorable promos.
Memorable.
Not necessarily best or worst or, just memorable. So, doesn't necessarily have to be good. We're not necessarily deliberately plumbing the depths for the absolute worst. It's a bit of both.
And we'll probably have a disclaimer when we get to that section as well. But let's just state it's not a list, but it's just certain things that come to our mind.
It's not definitive. It's just what we thought of this afternoon while we were planning the content. Yeah, like we said, if you want to add to it, you've probably got as many good ideas as us. And that may, if you are vocal and sensible and come up with ones that make us slap our forehead and go, how did we forget that? May lead to a part 2 in the future.
Well, it's most likely we could do a part 2, but if you are interested in the topic and wanting to hear our thoughts on certain promos, let us know about the promos and we will be honest with you. Just don't mention one promo, please. That's all I ask.
I don't remember any of the promos.
Do you not remember that?
In relation to the Japanese shampoo commercial, you're fine. If you would like to bombard Matt Burns' social media with hashtag Booker T's Room of Candles, please feel free.
God! Just no. Just no. Anyway, let's get on with the show.
Yeah, basically, right, having told you what we're going to do, let's do it. So let's start with ratings news.
Yes, WWE basically had a bit of a discussion in regards to when they had the so-called annual ratings stating that WWE is having its most profitable year. They've actually had some discussions in regards to it, which I have just thought of an additional topic that we are going to have to cover at the same time, which I'll do straight after because it's linked. It does actually sort of link into with this topic as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. Bit. Okay, so the basic initial topic is ratings.
WWE ratings. And the decline of them.
Their apparent continual and bottomless slide.
And the show that's been mostly affected by this this slide has been mostly Raw, is from what has been implied. Now, a lot of people have been going back and forth. Me personally, I just think it's due to the fact that there's no fans. The atmosphere is vastly different, but they are doing their best work. But at the same time, probably because fans are probably thinking, why are they continuing on recording live when they should be practicing stay at home?
Well, there is that, and of course, most fans will there is possibly the case that a small number of fans will have simply thought that it's not carrying on because everyone's staying at home, so they'll have simply tuned out because they just, assume that nothing was being recorded. So I'm sure all these factors are to blame.
Yeah, there's more. There's magnitude. However,
all we know for sure, however, is one of the reasons given by Mr. Vincent Kennedy McMahon
supposedly
isn't the reason. Supposedly. So we are led to believe by the internet. One of those reasons, probably isn't a reason.
Yeah. One of them was because on Raw there's increasingly new talent always popping up, which that's okay. We can understand that.
That's a constant refreshing of the talent pool. That's a good thing.
It's a good thing. And yes, it could, stop people from, setting people out saying, well, who's this guy? Who's that guy? And switch off.
For more than a week, you'll soon find out.
Potentially. But at the same time, the other reason that Vince has said, because Brock Lesnar is not on it anymore.
Yes, because of course he was regular in 6 segments every week when he was there. Oh wait, no.
Right, so ratings are falling because Brock isn't the champion.
Oh, is that the reason? Because he's not the champion?
He's not. He's not the champion, and he's not on Raw at the moment. Hang on, Vince. Where in your mind did you get this thought? Because Brock's not there. Really? Because Brock's not there? Where the hell's Brock been? When it was, right. It's just, right. The ratings were already declining anyway, regardless of Brock being there. Oh, wait, when he was there, it probably had a bit of an increase because he actually turned up and caught people by surprise. Oh, he's actually, the champ is actually there. Whereas now, we've actually got Drew, who is the current new champion, as such, which means we've got a regular champion there, which means the title's on show.
Which means
the
everyone
main
remembers
title.
that the main championship isn't on an extended holiday.
And what makes it worse for this, and this is where I massively discredit WWE,
Go on.
is the fact that at one point they actually had Brock Lesnar, the WWE champion, and Bill Goldberg, the WWE Universal Champion, at the same time.
And neither of them were regularly on shows. Sorry, what?
Are you trying to bury your main championship belt?
Well, apparently, yes.
Just what the hell? Legit. It's just, in my own mind, it's just, what are you thinking, Vince? It's fine having nostalgia. No, it's fine having nostalgia.
Having a part-time champ is bad enough, but then finally getting rid of him and putting the title around someone who is new as a top-level champion, but by the way, isn't a new superstar for people who are peddling that. He's been with the company on and off since 2005, so pack that in, because that's only 3 years after Lesnar first joined.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, he was a member of 3MB.
Exactly. The point is, saying that people don't recognise Drew, like I say, jog on. And saying that it's because Brock isn't there, jog on. These are stupid straw-clutching reasons, and we don't buy them for a second.
And on top of that,
if indeed the internet has said these and tried to attribute them to Vince, as I very much suspect, shame on you, the internet. If Vince McMahon has genuinely said them himself, I despair.
Rumour has it it's supposedly meant to have come from Vince McMahon himself.
I somewhat despair, but hey.
What makes it so bad with this is the fact that At least one thing I can say with Goldberg, he held it for a short time, even though he shouldn't have had it.
Yeah, it was a short. Well, that in my book makes it even worse because why bother giving it to him? But at least he got in and got out and minimised the damage.
Yeah. Now, at least now, at the moment, we've got 2 regular guys on both brands that are going to be there weekly, even though
week in, week out, defending the title, appearing, and generally doing what a champion on a weekly televised wrestling show should do.
Correct. Even though they should be, practicing, stay at home. But anyway, that'll be for another topic for another week potentially, because that could be an interesting topic between, just hearing different thoughts. I'll probably make that. I might have a bit of an idea when to do that topic. Anyway,
right, you are.
Anyway, basically for the ratings, the rumor has it's due to quick change of talent. Which, if it is, then fair enough. Some of the quick change of talent can actually end up happening, but at the same time, you've got to be sort of a little bit careful as well. Saying that, because at the same time, but Vince did state that the ratings will increase most likely when the less known talent become more known.
Yes,
we will have to wait and see.
Yes,
we will have to wait and see in regards to that going forward. Right.
Who's old enough, like me, to remember when the WWF New Generation were first introduced en masse in the mid-90s?
Me?
If I recall, ratings also went down for 2 or 3 months after that as well, while everyone got used to the, mass change of personnel. That's not even happening that suddenly now. It's just a steady drip change. So I don't think blaming the personnel change is actually valid.
It could be for a short time, but at the moment, I would just say give it a few weeks potentially to see if it does increase or if it does keep decreasing. Me personally, and this is going to actually sound like I'm defending Brock here.
Steady.
I'm not blaming Brock for the poor ratings.
Oh no,
far from it.
I'm not.
I'm actually going to be blaming the fact that at the moment it's probably because of the current situation because there's no fans, which can have a dramatic change on in regards to it. But
yes,
I do think the fact of it's not the usual, it's not the normal. But anyway, we're going to have to quickly move on.
Just another final point on this.
What?
If you look at the continued strong ratings of NXT, which may not be as much as Raw or SmackDown, but they're pretty stable, and the continued high viewing figures from before it was even a network show even a television show simply on the WWE network, and then look at the constant churn of new people coming in to replace those who've been called up to the main roster, to replace those who've been injured simply because they've signed a new talent and they're bringing them in. NXT's never the same for 2 straight weeks, and that doesn't affect the ratings. So that blows that theory clean out of the water.
Yeah, and we do so. But anyway, it's all theory speculation. We'll have to wait in the upcoming weeks to see in regards to that, whether see if Vince is right. If you wanted to discuss more on this topic, messages, let us know, or give us your thoughts on it. And let's move on to the next topic, which is what happened on SmackDown, which is the Triple H 25-year anniversary.
Yeah, the posh Connecticut blue blood, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, who, of course, has remained unchanged for the entirety of 25 years. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, it was a celebration of the legacy of Triple H in his many guises.
Okay.
Are we bracing ourselves for a soapbox here from Matt Burns?
No.
No? Oh.
No.
I thought you were drawing breath, getting ready to drop a rant bomb.
No, far from it. It was... I thought Right, my thoughts on the actual anniversary itself, when they actually timed it, was mistimed and should have been early on in the show, not the final moment.
Possibly.
However, I did find it quite hilarious because it was very tongue-in-cheek. It wasn't...
It didn't take itself massively seriously.
I've got to give Triple H massive props for this, because yes, Triple H even had a message from The Rock on the bump that was properly heartfelt. He's even had one from Chris Jericho, who is part of AEW, saying how great he is. So that's nice at the same time. And Triple H, being the trooper that he is, used his 25th anniversary to mock himself.
To mock himself, like all good people should, which will come as a slight surprise to the small militant corner of the Triple H haters fan club, which is stuck in about 2008 and thinks he just buries everyone all the time.
Although Vince McMahon might disagree with you on that one.
Yeah. Which, of course, couldn't be further from the truth. That's the point. But there are some people that, for some reason, still think that.
There's some might think that. I thought the segment was absolutely interesting, hilarious, and funny. The fact that you had Ric Flair coming on, crying, doing a promo, going off and calling back, back crying. Then you got Stephanie giving him a message, a heartfelt message.
Yeah.
You got Shawn Michaels pointing in, stating that he's gathered all of his friends around in the arena. And he goes, yeah, where are they? They're all here.
It's just me.
Almost like it's just me. And it was like, oh, for God's sake.
And the point that you pointed out to me, which I missed at the time,
the beginning,
the security.
Oh God!
Taking his water bottle away,
and Triple H just looking at him like, "What the hell?" He's like, mm-mm.
Global circumstances, mate. Have you not heard the news? You can't do things like that.
In case anybody was wondering if you know who Triple H is, you know what his entrance is. And the funny thing about it is, they actually made a joke of using the current situation, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
WWE, it's best when they think like that on their feet, and yeah, I love it as well.
I absolutely love it. And then Shawn came out. When Shawn did come out, they showed like a highlight reel. The funny. Oh wait, no. The not so funny moments of Generation X, which were actually funny. It was just them doing bloopers. And when I mean bloopers, I mean, where they
where they got words wrong, or where they did morally dubious things?
When they completely floundered lines.
Yeah.
And some of them, you've even got Triple H on one of them, as Shawn's doing the, I believe, the presidential promo, and he flubbed the lines, and Triple H just goes, one of these days, the Generation X is going to get through this promo. Which shows how much of a humour side that they have.
Which is often forgotten, but really shouldn't be.
Yes. And then Vince McMahon came out and... some of the critiques that was on there.
Of Vince McMahon? Of what he said? Or just random... wrestling, I only watch it so I can criticise it. He
sort of turned on and goes, Triple H has got his fans in the front row, most likely his family, going, yeah, go Triple H, Triple H, Triple H, while the rest of the crowd going, boring.
All of these references made to an empty arena, I would just like to point out, the irony of which was not lost on most people.
Exactly. And then on top of that, he turns around and just fired at Triple H. Come on. It wasn't Bayley's fault that this is your life failed on her. Triple H, it was your idea. And what was even more funny is the follow-up on that, is that the fact that Bayley even pointed out, you're damn right, Bishop Man, it wasn't my fault. And it's like, Jesus Christ.
It's like, hang on. Is this celebrate Triple H, or is this pile in on and bury Triple H? What's going on here?
And then at one point, Vince McMahon even mentioned the storyline.
The one, if there's any one single one in his entire career that Triple H would honestly rather forget,
this is...
He's never going to be allowed to.
Wait, this is a
Never going to be
storyline.
allowed to.
This is a storyline that makes me shudder even more than the damn Booker T Room of Candles.
Booker T Room of Candles?
Yeah.
Can't think why you'd mention that. It's not like I've ever pulled it up.
Really? Anyway.
Yeah, it's one of the most... One of the angles that people who hate wrestling hold up at length with a 6-foot stick and go, here's proof that what you watch is filth and it shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah,
And
but anyway...
even to us as fans, it's indefensible. But unfortunately, WWE being what it is and Vince McMahon being who he is, Triple H will never be allowed to forget it.
But it was done in a satire, funny way, though, at least.
Yeah. I get that.
They used the funny side of it. They used the fact... They used afterthought, Instead of going...
As if to say, yeah, this was terrible, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
But you did it, so haha, more fool you. That kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. But anyway... And then straight after that, Vince McMahon, to end it, goes, right, I'm off to bed, good night. Wrap up, boys, you're done here. And at which point, Triple H just goes, what, you're kicking us out? And lights start dimming out on the place, and they suddenly put an audio cue of crickets coming through. At which point, Shawn Michaels just goes, that sums up your career then.
You see, this is good wrestling which can not take itself too seriously.
The funny thing about it was, this was a segment that was not wrestling related, but it was still entertaining and funny.
Yeah,
it was interesting.
Along with the cinematic matches like they had at WrestleMania, Undertaker and Bray Wyatt, it shows a way that they could go, which in no way would harm the product at all. Just a little lighter side of things. Yeah.
However, as I just remembered, I just forgot to bring up the other discussion. I'll mention it straight after this. We'll get back to it anyway.
I think we're pretty much done with this bit.
I'm just going to say we're done with this bit now. Let's move on to the next subject. I'll just go back to the ratings one. Can you remember that meeting that they actually discussed?
Yeah.
And last week, we may have actually mentioned I'm not sure if it was on a pre-recorded one that we got for later, or if it's already been discussed. It's in regards to WWE 2K games.
And the, for whatever reason, unfortunate state of the current game.
Right. No, it's not in regards to the current game. It's in regards to the future.
Okay. In regards to future games. Okay, that's cool. Have they announced a major announcement?
Right. 2K turn around and says, we're not going to mention anything. You'll have to wait until Monday to find out. Wait till Monday. We're going to make you wait.
Yay.
WWE didn't do that. They just went, nope, we're not waiting that long. The current game's that bad. During that meeting, there won't be a WWE 2K21 game. Outright.
There won't be.
They took it out of 2K's hands and just went, whee!
Yeah, in much the same way, in a similar vein, that having received pretty much universal condemnation from everyone involved for Forza Motorsport 7, Turn 10, the developers of said game, went, right, well, we're not going to stick to our usual 2-year development plan for Forza 8. We're going to take some time out and redevelop it and build Forza 8 from the Forza 8, which is not even yet got a release date, 3 years after Forza 7, from the ground up and take our time with it.
Yeah. Anyway,
and that's exactly what 2K need to do with 2K, what I assume will now be 22. Anyway, they need to basically rebuild the game from the ground up.
Anyway, before we get onto the game of topics of games we're not aiming to do, we'll probably save that for a TBT Games segment or a TBT, TBT Games episode as such. But in regards to it, they've stated that they are not having a game, but there could be something out that's similar to it. Rumour has it that people are wondering if this is going to be Crush Hour 2 or something else. I know one person suggested It'd be absolutely rubbish if it was a golf game, then pause and then realise, imagine Keith Lee with a putter and then Brock Lesnar swinging a 9-iron. I want this game, as they stated. And oddly enough,
I see.
I actually agree with them for some unknown reason. I don't know why.
I personally hate golf. Can't have anything to do with it. Hate golf games, and even if it's a WWE themed golf game, unless the basic idea is the golf clubs and the golf course are just incidental backgrounds in which you beat people to death with the clubs and stuff, I'm not going to be interested in it. But I'm not arguing that I am in any way representative of everyone and that there isn't a market for it. There might be. Who knows?
There might be. But anyway, the point being is we'll have to wait and see, most likely on Monday when 2K Games basically will reveal their big announcement on Monday. Right. Let's get on to the next main subject, which is in regards to Drake Maverick. Now, I know you're all thinking is, why would we mention Drake Maverick when we know he's been released, he's doing his final days at WWE, and he'll be done?
Will he?
That's the question.
Are we sure about that?
That is the question.
Yeah.
The reason why we ask this question is simply because, in regards to Drake Maverick, the thing that I found really weird and unusual is when Drake released that video and sent it off to Triple H and management and everything, you can see it was genuinely heartfelt.
Yeah, but the thing is, it was released by him to be put on his social media.
Which it was.
And that was that. I don't think he intended for it to be what it became.
It ended up on WWE NXT.
Yeah. Which is, of course, the home of the Cruiserweight Championship, which is why it went there, because that's what he's competing for in his final matches.
And basically making out, he has to win this or he's gone. He's lost his job. But they're really, really pushing it.
In a way that makes you, as a wrestling fan who's been conditioned to see things in a certain way, makes you jump to a very specific conclusion. Or at least it does me. I don't know about you.
I'm no conspiracy theorist, but even though we have had a conspiracy theory on the past episode in regards to Vince McMahon and the whole being what was it, work essential, was it?
Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, we're not bringing that topic up again. But anyway, The point being is, it just seems a bit unusual. My personal thing is, if it isn't, and he is generally going to be losing his dates, Jesus, WWE, have a heart. But at the same time, you're going to be sending out Drake Maverick red hot, and then hoping that this pandemic doesn't go away and he runs out of his days and can't find work elsewhere, so he has to wait 90 days.
Yes.
When his contract is up, which potentially he may not have a place because of the current situation, although he could do because of the current situation in regards to other wrestling companies still continuing on, aka AEW is possibly reopening, doing some lives again soon, but we'll probably discuss that next week.
At a later date, yeah. Okay.
Well, at a later date when we bring up the whole view, our view on the WWE being still running. That'll be added on to that.
Apparently an essential service, yes.
Yes. We'll add that on to potentially next week. But anyway, in regards to this, if it isn't that it is, he's getting released, then really pulling on the heartstrings of WWE, that's not good. That's not nice.
That's well, it's memorable, but not necessarily in a good way. Yeah.
No, it's not. Basically kicking a man while he's down is what I'm getting. But anyway, if it is that they've decided to rehire him on the spot because of the promo, I'm all happy for it and they're pushing for it. But at the same time,
yeah, and I'm all for it.
A bit of boundaries still, or if not, if this was the actual plan from the get-go, as in having put the promo, if it is the promo saved his job, then fair enough, it's saved his job.
Epic. And if
It's
this
just
was always the plan and he never was really fired and it was just a case of
we
we're
just
going to
did it
tell
for
him,
the sake
well,
of
let's
it.
see what you can do, then yeah, fair enough.
No. If he planned the promo from the beginning and he was never actually fired, then I question their theory because all the other workers who have lost their jobs.
Oh no, I understand that. I totally do. It would be slightly odd of them to have done this in this way, but let's just hope, shall we, that a really impassioned off-the-cuff promo that a guy who's just lost his job put out there with not expecting a great deal has actually got his job back.
Yeah, saved his job. Which then you could turn around and say to others, is that the reason, he's done it? Others haven't done that themselves. Which they could then basically state, oh, right, so they could have done the same thing if that was the case.
Exactly.
And as such, because they haven't, that could be that WWE's argument of saying, you could have done that and try and keep your job, but you haven't. You didn't push for it hard enough, which is a little bit naughty and a little bit cruel. But if it is the fact that they already planned this from the get-go, they're basically stating that the guys who lost their job, you had no chance of getting your job back.
Yeah, at the same time as, good for Drake Maverick, it's also, a little harsh on everyone else.
Correct. However, the rumour has it at the moment is currently Drake Maverick is still released and also Sarah Logan. And the reason why I mentioned Sarah Logan
is because, like Drake Maverick, she has been mentioned on WWE TV since, allegedly, we're really not sure at this stage, but as far as we know, being released.
Yes, but repeatedly. Which, again, in our minds, basically has us doing the usual
jump to conclusions routine of fired. Are they really?
Yeah.
And of course, we're not claiming to have the answers to that. For all we know, yes, they could genuinely be, and it could just have been one of those things. But knowing wrestling as we do, both of us think there's more to it than that.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely more to it, but we'll have to wait and see in regards to it. Right. Now,
was there
my personal views on it? My personal views in regards to the Drake Maverick situation is that I think the actual promo saved his career.
I would like to think so too, because
I'm going to give it the benefit of doubt for now.
Yeah.
If it isn't, then I'm going to be massively questioning it.
But yeah, we'll give it the benefit of the doubt until, I don't know, next week, a few weeks' time, whenever it turns out that we find out more.
Or when we actually find out the actual answers in regards to it.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
Yeah, but anyway, let's get on to the next subject, which is going to be the interesting part now, which is not resulting in regards to current events. That's the news segment out the way. I know what you're thinking. Hang on. News?
News? Sorry, what?
What's going to be next?
Well, let's give you a clue. Not news, therefore. What does that leave? Oh, yeah, opinion.
Opinions and discussions. Now, let's just state this. The next topic that we're going to be discussing is in regards to memorable promos in wrestling.
Which, for the sake of this particular first instalment in What If This Catches Fire Like We've Got a Feeling It could end up being 2 or 3 or many parts, we will be focusing on the American mainstream wrestling we watched growing up. But it could expand beyond that in future.
At the moment, we've currently only got the main promos being from the higher up, the main stream.
Yeah.
The mainstream. But anyway, the point being is we could have promos that could sort of creep in from elsewhere, from British wrestling, from other countries, and such. But for this take, and let's just state, we're going to be stating our opinions on these promos, and as we stated, they are our opinions only. If you disagree, that we're not saying that what we're saying is right or wrong.
No, we're simply saying that it's our opinion, and Summit, you're welcome to disagree politely or agree. And in fact, whichever you do, we'd quite like you to on our social media.
Or better, yes, if you have any, if you feel as though we've missed any, we'll discuss that most likely after. But anyway, let's just try to bring up a memorable. Do you want me to go first, or yourself, or do you want to go for one that we've both picked on?
I think we should save the ones that we both agree on till the end, so I'll let you go first.
I'll go first, and for me, I've gone for two memorable promos.
Okay.
One of them for how legendary it is, and when I mean legendary, this is a promo that the second I mentioned the main subject of it, regardless of when you were born or when you've heard it, you
what he's talking about. Absolutely.
And then the other one is memorable for all the wrong reasons.
Yes.
I'm just trying to decide on which one. I'm going to go with the memorable for all the wrong reasons first. Now, normally I would say put your best foot forward, but I'm going to say I want to end.
You want to end on a positive note, so you're going to start low and work your way high.
Well, I say start low. It's still, I wouldn't say, it's not a poor promo. It's just a slip up. And
it's one of those things.
And when we say slip up, it's funny when the guy who is having the promos thrown at them is dying of laughter.
Yeah, that never helps.
This is from the 15th of November, 1999 on WCW Nitro.
Ooh.
And the promo was between Sid Vicious and Kevin Nash.
Yes. Now, that is probably already setting alarm bells ringing for those of you who know what is coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, the comment I'm referring to is when, Sid Vicious is literally going, see, I've had enough of you two. See, you screwed me. You're taking my title. You look like a jackass. See, it all stops tonight. See, Nash, you can wear any Halloween costume you want to, but and I know that you're only half the man that I am, and I have half the brain that you do.
Hold on, what? Record scratch.
But week after week, you try to make me look like a jackass, and I'm going to stop the promo there. You already know why.
You already know that what he said and what he meant were more than likely complete polar opposites.
Right.
However,
would you like me to just rewind on to the bit that we were referring to?
Please do.
Just to highlight it. But and I know that you're only half the man that I am, and I have half the brain that you do.
Do you? Because if I was you, that's a brave thing to admit in public.
Yeah.
You dumbass.
That was the statement that Sid Vicious gave to Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
And as he's continuing on, and, he's saying, week after week, you try and make it look like a jackass. Kevin Nash and Scott Hall can't even look at the damn camera.
Scott Hall is, probably having that infamous moment on Raw where they all, I think it was a Godfather promo that about 4 other people got introduced into, and they all just tried to one-up each other. And if you look carefully, you can actually see the bit where Steve Austin is leaning against the turnbuckle, desperately trying not to laugh his arse off.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's that kind of moment.
yeah. And then you got, and then he's going, but it stops tonight. For you, Hall, the road to WCW Heavyweight Champion of the World. Well, it ends tonight. Look at you, Nash. Even though I'm already scheduled to wrestle here tonight, if I can get your chicken shit ass out of retirement, it'll be you and me one-on-one. If you got the balls, which I doubt, and I will show you who the master is. When Nash is still saying, I'm still retired, Sid, it ain't gonna happen. Sid, I'm begging you, Kevin, for once in your life, be a man, not a clown. But see, I can step back here and I can look at you, and what I see is a shell of a former you. Yeah, I can see that, you can see that, and every person in this arena can see that.
Hang on, what you're trying to say there is you're a fraction of the man you used to be, Kevin Nash. But what you actually said was in about 1,400 words too many. That exact thing in a way that lost all but the most awake people.
I think they were awake, probably still laughing from the moment when he said, you're only half the man that I am, and I have half the brain that you do.
Yes.
Good Lord.
Good Lord, that's silly.
And what makes it worse is, this isn't Sid Vicious' only offence.
Sid, serial offender, vicious. He's known
He's done a few.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll save that one for another time.
Yeah, okay, because that is what you might call a bit of a downside. But if we get into a run of silly things, we're going to have to get into positive ones as well, because we don't want to be unnecessarily negative. But anyway, right.
Would that get on to my positive one?
Yeah, if you don't mind, that would be pretty cool.
I won't say the full promo. I'll just mention the name of the promo. This is how iconic it is.
Yeah, all you will probably have to say is the name, and
everyone will know it. And if you don't, look it up.
Yeah, I would go so far as to say, if you don't, why don't you?
Correct. The promo I'm referring to is from the 29th of October, 1985.
Yes, that's before large proportion of you were even born. I believe it's before Matt Burns was even born. I was alive then, but I was
young.
Not even 2 yet. So,
Yeah. Basically,
I didn't see it at the time, is what I'm getting at with that.
Yeah.
But the point is, it's required viewing for anyone who is A, a fan of wrestling, and B, who is learning to be a wrestler, a manager, or any other form of performer in the wrestling industry who wants to understand promos.
If you want to put butts in seats with a promo, watch this promo.
Yes.
And the promo I'm referring to is by Dusty Rhodes, and this is his promo that is called Hard Times.
Yes, and for those of you who have a mind that works like mine, I really, really pity both of you. But also, this has nothing to do with the Big Boss Man's entrance theme, okay?
No, it doesn't. It's often hailed as one of the greatest wrestling promos of all time. This is
the reason being because it is.
Yeah, where Dusty's readied himself for a main event match again, in the greatest show known to WCW, Starrcade, where he's going to be battling Ric Flair for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. The £10 of gold. And it's building up, to the climax, to one of the most iconic rivalries of all time.
Yep.
And believe me when I say this promo is one that is just wow.
It's one of those promos that when you finish watching it for the first time, if you're anything like us, you're probably immediately going to go back and watch the whole thing again. And just be like, did I really just see that?
I've already, right now, got it ready for when we're done with this episode to play it.
There you go.
I've already got it ready.
I have also got that with one of my choices, but not the same one, for obvious reasons.
But anyway, that is my promos, and believe me, if anybody does want to disagree with me on any of these, I'd like to hear your view, or But anyway, let's get on to your promos, shall we?
Okay, I'm just trying to remember which ones were mine and which ones were not ours that we both picked.
I'll just state 2001.
Ah, yes.
1995. Are yours?
Aha. Let's go chronologically then. Let's start with the 1995 one.
Which was, if I'm not mistaken, the 10th of October. And I believe it's ECW.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. No, I thought that was the one that both of us went for.
No, that was you.
Is this the one featuring at that point, stunning Steve Austin?
Yes, it was going to be both of us, but I decided to give it to you because you're the one who brought it up.
Yeah, that's fine.
Otherwise, it would have been only one for yourself.
Yes, I see. This is the stunning Steve Austin promo on ECW. I believe it was called Uncensored, ECW TV, in 1995, where, at the behest of the genius that is Paul Heyman, a recently fired from WCW, stunning Steve Austin, turns up on ECW television and lets the whole world know exactly how he feels about it.
Oh, yeah.
And seriously,
I don't think
anyone who's watched any of Austin's WWF and WWE promos ever since, basically, the Stone Cold character was born in this promo. It wasn't fully realised for about another 2 years, but it was born at this point.
Well, actually, it was a year. It was less than a year.
But, well, yeah, we all know that he had to go, when he was first hired by the WWE, he had to endure 6 months as a non-talking babyface with a manager who did his talking for him.
He wasn't a babyface.
He was a heel, sorry. No, I just realised who his manager was. Of course he was a heel.
But anyway.
As a non-talking... But basically, he wasn't allowed to talk because his heel manager, the $1 Million Man, did it for him. Pretty soon they realised what a mistake that was.
Yeah. But anyway, we digress. Let's focus. I think the one that you're referring to is the second one.
I think there was more than one.
There was?
But, yeah. The first one, referring to Monday NyQuil.
No, that was the second one.
Oh, was that the second one? Okay. Well,
that was the second one.
I think over time they've sort of bled together in my mind, so help me out. First one was which parts? And the
first one was when he was mentioning what exactly happened, and that he was coming into ECW, basically to take over. Hopefully trying to grab, somebody's attention.
Yes, so that somebody, of course, being a certain former boss of his who fired him in the least helpful way possible.
Which was brought up in the promo that you're wanting to mention, which is
in the second
one, repeatedly.
Oh yeah, absolutely. In the second, the one that I'm referring to, he does not go easy on a certain Eric Bischoff, and at the time, for anyone who knows the wrestling history of the period, with good cause.
Yeah, but at the same time, he didn't just aim at them. He sort of hit it, WCW, not just at Eric Bischoff, he also hit the slogan that WCW had as well, massively. Yes.
The slogan, where the big boys play, which was used by WCW to get at the WWF. He I don't know if I can repeat the version that he used. I did.
Yeah, it's not.
But needless to say,
well.
He made light of it quite spectacularly.
Yeah, in a entertaining fashion manner, and basically mentioned, they're fired, who's fired? Oh, you're all fired.
Yes.
We've got some old codgers.
Essentially, yeah, in my mind, they've all melded it. The two promos have melded into one in my mind, so it's sort of, I think, I can't remember which one it was, but was it that promo where, where he was knocking the Nacho Man?
No, I think that was the first one. The second one was one where he literally stated, where you've got the old guys running everything, and that no one can actually get over. But screw it, it'll be entertaining anyway.
Yep, that figures. Basically, they're both required viewing, so let's count them as one choice.
Well, count them as one choice.
They were the formation of the Stone Cold character, and we all know.
And damn it,
we all know the slight impact that character had on wrestling history. It wasn't massive, but
and damn it, because of you now, I've actually just thought of an additional one that I'm going to have to add on at the end after you're done.
Fair enough, then. That's all good. It's all good. You've done yours, haven't you? So
no, you got one more yours?
That's what I'm saying. I'm going again next, aren't I? Because you did this one after the other. So yeah, the other one of mine starts in a very predictable way, and it is possibly the finest work of possibly the man that enabled Steve Austin to become half the legend he was by being the other half of most of his best matches.
Yeah.
I am, of course, talking about Mr. Johnson.
Dwayne?
That's Mr. The Rock to you.
Yeah. Dwayne.
Mr. Rock.
Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yes, and one of his early promos where, well, I say early, actually I think it was one of the ones in the absolute pomp of his career when he had the wheels underneath him and he was fully rolling as The Rock, when he had the world at his feet and literally everything that came out of his mouth was gold. This promo being no exception.
Yeah.
For those of you who wish I'd just shut up and tell you what it is, I'm talking about the first promo that I watched when I came back to the WWF after my late 90s hiatus that made me go, yes, this is why I love this. This is exactly why I watch this. That is genius. People will remember that for the rest of time. And I have done. So, even if only I remember it, it's done the point. But I don't think it's just me somehow. I am talking, for those who want to get a popular internet search engine up and look for it after this, about The Rock's Royal Rumble 2001 pre-match promo.
Good promo.
Yes.
It is.
Fantastic promo, which encapsulates in about 3 minutes everything you want in a promo. Bigging up the event, bigging up the location, bigging up his opponents, bigging up how much he's going to win, bigging up the fact that he has got lots of worthy opponents, but none of them are fit to lace his boots on this particular occasion. And, because it's The Rock, throwing in as many of his catchphrases of the moment as he could possibly fit into 3 minutes.
As he does.
And also, it's faded over time, but there was a time up until a few years ago when I could recite it word for word.
Yeah.
For the benefit of those with working ears, I'm not going to try that now.
No.
But needless to say, just watch the promo. It is the man renowned as possibly the best promo guy ever at his absolute peak. Yeah. I think that's all I need to say.
Agreed. And the additional one, we are going to have to speed up a little bit.
Yeah, that's
because
cool.
we have sort of gone a little bit over our original planned schedule.
That's fine. No, we've got our main ones across. You've come up with one alternative one.
An additional.
Which you can do briefly. And then we'll just mention the two that we both had come up with, which means that they're guaranteed gold, because if we both thought of them independently of each other, they must be good. And then we'll wrap up. So
Correct.
What is the additional one?
The additional one for me is from ECW. I don't have the exact date, unfortunately.
I think I know what you're going to say.
Go on.
I think I will just Google it just in case it's what you think it is, because, hold on.
Who do you think it is?
I think it might involve a certain former tag team partner of The Rock.
Yes.
And also the other half of the This Is Your Life segment.
Yes, definitely.
And
100%.
his work in ECW.
Definitely.
Yeah. This comes under the third heading of, I was going to mention it as well, but I didn't know how long we'd be, so I didn't want to for time
Screw
reasons.
it. Screw it. We'll put this under the both category then, because this is for both of us. And in case if anybody wants to know which person we are referring to,
I'll just give you a small, subtle 2-word clue. Bang, bang!
pretty much. Or he'd hope you have a nice day.
Yes.
And in case if anybody wants to know, if you're still not clued up, it's none other than Mick Foley or Cactus Jack.
Yes.
Now...
And I'm just currently looking up the dates of when this particular promo aired. But tell us a little bit more about it while my incredibly slow laptop loads, please, Matt Burns.
Basically, it was a subtle one where he literally sits, when he was literally saying, the fans were saying, he's hardcore, you know, to Mick Foley, you know, he is ravishing. And then what basically put him off, it is the fact that he saw a sign that had his son's name on it.
Yes.
Now,
his son, who at the time was 3, maybe 4 years old.
Yeah, and it sort of it went from he's hardcore, if I'm just there saying, you know, he's had his body bruised, battered, and broken, but saying that the ECW fans have gone too far.
Yeah,
you know, they're
very
bringing
much
in his family, and as such, since after that promo, I believe Mick Foley decided to state that he was going to be very anti-hardcore.
He was basically, yeah. He wanted nothing to do with the idea of hardcore.
And the scary thing about it is, that is absolutely genius of Mick Foley, because he is in a wrestling company where his body's been battered and bruised and getting wrecked, and now he's deliberately showing he can actually wrestle.
Yes.
And showing he's not going to be using weapons, and claiming that, you know, he wants I believe it was, he wanted Uncle Eric to help save him.
Yes.
And it was just genius. The fact that it was almost like the fact that as soon as you saw the sign, and beforehand, he just goes, "Do you mind if I try this promo, cut it out?" And Paul Heyman just goes, "No, go for it. Speak from the heart." And then as soon as he voiced that promo, you can see Paul Heyman's cog turning in his head, just going, "Money! Keep going. We've got gold here. Do not anybody stop him. I will shoot. Yeah. I will pretty much fire your ass. Keep rolling. Keep rolling." And it showed, massively, you know, a personal touch to detail.
All I know is it was in the middle of 1995.
Yeah.
Summer of 95. That's as close as I can find with a date. So this was around about the time when, the same time as Stunning Steve Austin was doing his work. It's basically the brief summer when the number one wrestling promotion in the world was ECW.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, wow, you have to watch both of those, the Kane Dewey promo and both the bits of, and any other of, pretty much all of Mick Foley's ECW work with regards to this storyline, but this one in particular, and the two Steve Austin promos as well, to understand why. But for that brief moment, Mr. Heyman captured lightning in a bottle, and yeah, his was the best wrestling company in the world.
Well, he was creating the best stars.
Yes.
You know. But anyway, let's digress and let's move on quickly.
Yeah, to the other two, which we both agree are awesome. Which one do we want to go with first?
I'm going to go aim for...
If it was up to me... Go on.
Year order?
Okay. I was going to say, if it was up to me, I'd leave a certain one for last, but we'll see.
Which one?
The one involving the person from Chicago.
Are we having that one last?
I would say so. But
Yeah, that was the plan.
yeah, that's cool.
But anyway,
Okay, so first,
it's just brilliant.
over to you.
Right. This is it, King of the Ring, 1996.
And this leads into someone that I've already mentioned.
Yes, this leads into somebody who's already been mentioned.
Yeah, this is the evolution that was mentioned previously coming into full fruition. As in, this is the night that all the things that were hinted at on the previous promo fell into place, and the character that basically made this person one of the top 5 wrestlers of all time solidified and appeared. This is their first night.
Yeah, and the scary thing about it was, this was when he was a villain.
Yes.
He was a villain. He was a heel. He wasn't meant to be cheered. But
No.
he got cheered. And this was where his crowning achievement when he defeated Jake the Snake Roberts in the King of the Ring final.
In 1996.
And I believe the quote goes...
I believe in its entirety...
I'm not going to do it in its entirety.
It's less than a minute long.
It was, get that piece of trash out of here. He hasn't got what it takes anymore. He can't cut it. He ain't what he used to be. Get him out of here.
He likes to thump his Bible.
He said, tell him to go home, drink some Dutch courage, and actually come back when you've actually, got some of your old self back and actually got some talent in you. You sit there, you thump your Bible, and it didn't get you anywhere. Talk about your John, talk about your, talk about your subs, talk about your Johns.
John 316,
Austin 316.
You know what's coming.
Says, I just whipped your ass. And
Austin 316 says, I just whipped your ass.
And that was his promo where he is putting everybody on notice. They're on the hit list. And in case you haven't even figured out who we're on about, it would be none other than Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Still, at this point, I don't think fully minted Stone Cold Steve Austin, was he? I don't know if they come up with that nickname.
He was.
Okay, then.
He was. Because I believe he actually started using the Stone Cold additive, I believe, when he was going up against Yokozuna.
Oh, okay. That's cool. I know it came from his
ex-wife.
Former ex-wife, who was English, and was referring to his cup of tea going stone cold.
Yeah.
And he was just like, yeah, that's a genius way of describing me. I'll take that.
This promo was so brilliant. The fact that he wasn't, when he cut it, the next night, people on Raw had signs, Austin 216, Austin 216, Austin 216. And Jim Cornette's going, yeah, Vince, you need to pay attention to this.
Mate, look at this. Seriously. Whether you wanted to or not, this guy is...
It's just become a star.
Hashtag over as hell.
Yeah.
Even though hashtag well over in 1996. But you know what I mean.
It's one of the most iconic story promos. Absolutely memorable.
Yes. Epic stuff.
Would you care to go on to the final?
The final one?
Yeah.
The final one is a bit more modern. And by the way, if you want a modern, up-to-date people who were watching wrestling now at the age that we were when that promo came out, a modern equivalent purely for the amount of signs it brought up the next day, and a sort of, well, that got over, and that was just a, clip of the tongue moment, I think can be summed up in the 3 simple words, get these hands. That is definitely the 2000 and beyond era equivalent of Austin 316.
Potentially, but anyway, could have been.
Yeah, the point is, the final one that we want to mention in this...
Actually, no. I wouldn't even go as far as that. I can actually bring one that's still ongoing and say it was actually sooner before Get These Hands. How about Becky Lynch? And she called herself the Man.
That could work. But
anyway,
then you could also claim that one simple word did it for someone else.
What?
albeit repeated 3 or
What?
4 times.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes. Yes. Well, failing that, a noise, which I'm not even going to try and repeat. Thank you very much for that, Akira Tozawa.
Ha!
Yeah. Anyway, we digress. The final one that we wanted to bring up that was mentioned jointly by both of us because, like we said, if you in any way enjoy wrestling or want to get into the wrestling business and want to try cutting your own promos, this one is also absolutely required viewing.
Just make sure that you have permission to do so. If not, you may find out your mic can end up getting cut off short. And let's just state this. This was a promo that was done on Raw 27th of June 2011.
2011. And it doesn't feel like that long ago. It really doesn't. But before anyone who hasn't worked it out yet gets filled in on exactly what it is.
I saw what you did there.
Yeah. Oh, and I didn't even mean that. That's even better. The side thing that I'm going to say here, before we mention fully what the promo is all about, is how you doing, Colt Cabana?
Oh.
You know exactly what we're talking about, don't you?
Oh, it's just...
The 2011 promo that they were already a thing for a little while by then, but basically gave hashtags their worldwide prominence in wrestling with the two simple words, hashtag pipe bomb.
Hashtag pipe bomb, yeah. I remember this. In case if anybody hasn't clued up, yes, this is a Chicago-based wrestler.
Who doesn't like to advertise the fact that he thinks of himself somewhat as a chick magnet.
He isn't a wrestler at the moment. As such, he's actually now... he's more of an analyst?
An analyst, I think, is the correct term, yes.
Yeah. And he does it for... Is it Fox Sport? For Fox Sports, is it?
I believe...
A part of Backstage? Did he be Backstage?
Possibly,
this would be none other than Mr. It's clobbering time, CM Punk.
CM Punk. What a legend.
And case of to bring the detail, what was so interesting about this promo was the fact that he did it on John Cena, calling Cena an ass kicker, but not as much of an ass kicker as Dwayne The Rock Johnson. And then he literally started aiming it at the Vince McMahon family and Triple H, saying how much idiots they are, and then started picking out on certain programs that they run, stating how hang on, they're running these so-called programs when they're actually the worst offenders themselves. And it's like, and then all of a sudden the mic, hey Colt Cabana, hey other guys, and actually, if I'm not mistaken, one of the guys that he's mentioned were actually on the recent list who's got released.
Yes.
Whoops.
Silly. Oh well.
History repeating itself.
Just anyway, a little bit.
The point being is, what a promo.
What an absolute game changer.
And the scary thing about it is, whether if it was planned or not, the bit when the mic got cut out, if that was planned, it's genius. If it
wasn't planned, it's one of those moments like turning up to Raw the night after King of the Ring and seeing that every third person in the crowd's got an Austin 316 sign. It was just an unplanned, one of those catching lightning in a bottle moments that you just can't replicate.
A lot of people are saying, while we're cutting the mic off, make it better. They're trying to silence him. They're trying to silence him.
If you watch the promo, the whole point of the promo is everything he says, essentially justifies an evil boss trying to basically be, enough. Shut up. We don't want you saying anymore. You're giving the game away. Pack it in.
Yeah, basically, he's going to be the voice of the voiceless. But anyway, we digress. Yeah. You know what he's referring to. We are referring to the CM Punk pipe bomb promo. What a promo. If any of the promos you do disagree on or want to throw in some of your own to hear our thoughts on it, send it over to us. But other than that, I think that's going to be a wrap up for this week.
I think as far as the standard bit of the show goes, that's pretty much it. We've given you our best. Get in touch on social media if you would like to tell us we're right, tell us we're wrong, tell us why we're wrong because what we've forgotten. And on that note, I think it's just up to you to do some plugs and we'll get out of here.
The difference is with the plugs, we're going to be limiting the plugs now at the moment in time. I'm going to say they're going to be less plugs, more shout outs instead. As right now, of course, I'm going to do some little bit of self plug, as of course with UKWA, also known as UK Wrestling Alliance. Give it a check out on past stuff. Share some love. Also check out local wrestling promotions. Give some love to them. We of course also recommend you check out charities like Changes for Health and Wellbeing, Charities Recovery Radio, Mind, Message for Mind, and Donna Louise Hospice Care for Children and Young People.
That was Changes for Health and Wellbeing, just in case you couldn't hear that very clearly.
Yeah, Changes for Health and Wellbeing, Changes Recovery Radio, Mind, Message for Mind, Donna Louise Hospice Care for Children and Young People, Cancer Research UK. Because charities like that do need your help from time to time, but the information that they could provide could be massively useful. We of course will always recommend to check out the light side of wrestling, which is of course Botchamania, WrestleCrap, and OSW Review. You're welcome, Maggie.
You're welcome, guys.
You're welcome, RD Reynolds, and of course the OSW crew. I of course also recommend you check out anything to do with Magic Mark Adams, especially Don't Say the C Word podcast that is currently ongoing at the moment, especially because I've even been a guest on it.
Well, if there wasn't enough reason to check it out already, and trust me, Magic Mark Adams is enough of a reason on his own, the fact that Matt Burns is on it, there you go, there's another stone cold reason.
I was on there speaking about the Sega Genesis. Yes, I know,
Old school
gaming, but there is other topics on there, of course, that they have. He's done, I believe, an episode for each day, and he's going to be he's constantly bringing out content all the time. We, of course, also recommend you check out many other, other podcasts and broadcasts like, We the Independent, Paul Pass Radio Show, of course, Think Wrestling with the wrestling interviews, Train Pop Culture, Hatred Theory, as such. We of course also recommend check out Kayfabe Music, who do the music for us, be it for the Burning Truth, and I've had music done by them. We of course also recommend you check out Turnbuckle TV, where it's just $3.99 for 40+ wrestling companies, and it's got good quality, plenty of viewership. As we've already stated, local wrestling companies. Of course, if you don't know where to find a local wrestling company, check out Babyface Wrestling app. And of course, check out our website, which is www.theburningtruthuk.com. You know what's on there. Yeah, we'll just point out, please do not hold us responsible for external links, as we cannot be held responsible for. And of course, check out our social media, which we are on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. You can listen to all of our episodes either on the website, Spreaker, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Deezer, and many other sources. And that's going to be a wrap up for this week. But I'm just going to leave with the mental health message. Now, normally we do the usual, which is it's okay to be not okay, and asking for help isn't a weakness. And when you do actually ask for help, you can end up finding out there's more care for you than you know.
And that is still the case. But we have now got someone else who has said that
we've got another quote, and I'm even going to be referencing them, which is a quote, and this is from another YouTube, from another probably news source, where if you're into your wrestling and they've probably got more up to date than ourselves, which is by the Cultaholic guys. This was from last Friday's news section of Cultaholic, and it was done by Tom Campbell. Now, I know Tom Campbell personally myself. I met him years ago when I was wrestling at a company called EDW. Genuine nice guy. He also does radio shows as well. An all-round awesome guy. But he actually put and I'm going to quote him on one section, and I'll state the quote right now, which is, never compare your behind the scenes to other people's greatest hits.
Wow.
And yeah, And he mentions how important mental health. Basically stating, don't be judging yourself too harshly, comparing yourself to others' greatest hits, because you may never know what they're currently going to do. And as such, it's just powerful message. So I just thought to mention that for this week for the mental health side. And of course, that's going to be a wrap up for this week. So with all that, I'm going to recommend you all to stay well, stay safe, and hopefully until the next episode, you're all well. So with that, please stay safe. And of course,
even if you can't do it on a live basis, check out your local wrestling via all their past shows on Turnbuckle TV. Hey, see what I did there?
Or on their demand, and also if necessary, give some loved ones and people who you may know or may not have spoken to in a long while a quick call, because that one call could end up helping them out in a massive, massive way. But until then, we'll hopefully catch you next week, where next week we're probably going to be having the infamous discussion of what is our current views in regards to wrestling in Florida being considered essential. What was it?
Being an essential business that is allowed to continue in light of the lockdown for don't mention the C word. Yeah. So that might be a long one. That might be a rant-filled one. That might be a soapbox-filled one. We might possibly swear a lot. We can't say until we do it, but that's what we're going to be talking about next week. So thanks for listening, and tune in then.
Correct. And that's going to be next week's episode. Until then, stay well, stay safe, and we'll catch you next week. Until then,
goodbye for now.
Be well.